Welcome to the Deep Dive, a series on digital product and agile.
Glad to be here for this one.
Yeah, so whether you are, a daily practitioner right in the trenches, or maybe a leader trying to steer a massive organization, or just wildly curious about how work actually gets done today, we have curated this deep dive specifically for you.
Absolutely. It's a topic that affects basically everyone in the knowledge economy right now.
Right. Because right now, in corporate hallways all around the world, there is this pervasive rumor.
Oh, yeah, the whispers.
Exactly. You've probably heard it in Slack channels or debated in executive boardrooms. The rumor is that Agile is dying.
Which is quite the dramatic statement.
It is. And specifically that roles like the Scrum Master, the dedicated product owner,
Yeah.
and embedded specialists are, well, they're being put on the chopping block in the name of corporate efficiency.
Yeah, it is a very loud and frankly very anxious narrative out there right now.
Oh, absolutely.
You constantly hear executives saying things like, we don't need that role anymore, or we're going lean, we're flattening the structure.
Yeah, right.
But that narrative, it completely misreads the reality of what is actually happening within high-performing organizations.
Yeah, and to really ground our conversation today, we are going to be leaning heavily on some fantastic material based on insights drawn from books by the author Matthew Coxall.
Some really foundational work there.
Yeah, completely. And just for the sake of our conversation today, we're going to simply refer to the author as Matt.
Sounds good.
So Matt has written extensively across the entire spectrum of product ownership, engineering leadership, specialist collaboration, and delivery teams.
Right, the whole organizational product system.
Exactly. And our mission today is to essentially dismantle this myth. What if these roles aren't dying at all?
Right. What if they're doing something else entirely?
Yeah, what if instead they are mutating into the most powerful connective roles in the company?
I love that framing.
Okay, let's unpack this. We aren't looking at the death of roles, right? We are looking at the vital, necessary evolution of roles. Treating them as isolated job titles is just missing the entire point.
I completely validate that mission.
Yeah.
And I think Matt's work provides the perfect lens for this.
Yeah.
Because what many organizations and leaders are misdiagnosing as role redundancy is actually a symptom of growing systemic complexity.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, we are moving through this massive, painful shift from focusing on sheer output to focusing on actual value creation.
Right.
So treating these roles as isolated job titles on a spreadsheet.
Like just moving boxes around.
Exactly. It completely misses the point.
Yeah.
You really have to look at the organizational ecosystem as a whole.
Well, let's start with the big picture context then. The why now? Because, Agile has been around for over 2 decades.
Right. We all know the manifesto by heart at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So why is there suddenly this massive friction and redefinition happening right now? Why is the pressure cooker whistling today and not, say, 5 years ago?
Well, this raises an important question, and honestly, it comes down to scale, environment, and cognitive load.
Okay, break that down for me.
So the original Agile frameworks, right, they were mostly designed for a single co-located IT team building software in a single room.
Yeah, pizza-sized teams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But those boundaries have completely dissolved. Agile has scaled into massive, distributed, hybrid environments now.
Right, it's everywhere.
It's spread far beyond software engineering into HR, marketing, operations, finance.
Yeah, that's a huge shift.
You now have organizations trying to synchronize these really complex value streams across teams in Bangalore, London, and New York.
All at the same time.
Right. And then you add to that the rapid integration of artificial intelligence into our daily workflows.
Oh, yeah, the AI factor.
Exactly. The complexity factor has just skyrocketed. Modern organizations are wrestling with this need for cross-functional maturity at a scale that the original manifesto simply didn't map out.
That makes total sense. I mean, the environment is infinitely more complex. But I have to play devil's advocate here for a second on behalf of the skeptical executive who might be listening.
Fair enough. Bring it on.
If Agile is scaling so rapidly and we have all these amazing cloud-based collaboration tools now, why are so many people so incredibly frustrated with it?
It's a very common feeling.
Right. Like, are the frameworks themselves failing us? Or is it our understanding of the people running them that's broken?
That is the perfect question to frame the problem.
Because a lot of companies feel like they bought the really expensive Agile treadmill, but they aren't losing any weight.
That's a great analogy. But the frameworks aren't inherently failing. The frustration you are feeling is tied to a severe lag in role maturity.
Role maturity.
Okay. The tools have changed, the scale of the organizations has changed, the hybrid nature of the work is different. But our mental models of the roles operating those frameworks haven't caught up at all.
So we're stuck in the past.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We are using a 2024 tech stack with a 2010 mindset of what a Scrum Master or a product owner is supposed to be doing.
Wow.
It is essentially an industrial age mindset being applied to the knowledge economy.
Because our mental models are lagging so far behind, we really need to drag those outdated stereotypes out into the light and examine them.
We have to.
Let's deconstruct this old view of Agile roles, and let's start with the Scrum Master. We all know the stereotype.
Oh, yeah.
They're often viewed as the glorified calendar manager.
Precisely. In the immature model, the Scrum Master is essentially an administrative assistant for the team.
Just booking rooms and sending invites.
Exactly. They are viewed as the ceremony facilitator, the person who enforces the daily stand-up and makes sure everyone updates their JIRA tickets.
Right, like a compliance officer for the framework.
That's exactly what it is,
Yeah.
a compliance officer.
Okay, and what about the product roles? The product owner or product manager?
In the old model, they are basically backlog administrators.
Backlog administrators?
Yeah. They sit between the business and the developers, taking orders from the loudest stakeholders.
So whoever shouts the loudest gets their feature built.
Exactly. They just write user stories and feed the development team. They are order takers, translating business demands into technical tasks.
Without ever questioning it.
Rarely. They almost never question the strategic value of the demand itself.
Okay, then you have the engineering leaders, the engineering managers, or the tech leads.
Right.
In this outdated mental model, they are treated as delivery controllers.
Report controllers, exactly.
They oversee the deadlines, they crack the whip on velocity metrics, and they just make sure the code gets shipped on time.
Yes, and their entire performance is judged by predictability and output.
Like, did you deliver the features you promised by Q3?
Exactly that. Not, did those features actually solve a user problem?
Which brings us to the specialists, the architects, the UX designers, the business and data analysts.
Yes. The classic ivory tower experts.
Right. The ivory tower.
In the old view, they sit completely outside the Agile team, acting as gatekeepers.
Just handing things down from on high.
Yeah, they hand down massive architectural blueprints or exhaustive pixel-perfect design files, toss them over the wall, and expect the development team to just execute them perfectly.
No questions asked.
Right. Or worse, they act as an approval choke point at the end of the process.
Oh, that's the worst.
They just reject work that doesn't meet their pristine standards.
When you lay it all out like that, it feels incredibly industrial.
It really does.
It reminds me of a 1920s factory assembly line. We've just swapped out the title Foreman for Scrum Master.
Yeah,
And we've swapped out requirements document for JIRA ticket.
exactly.
But we have kept the exact same command and control, output-obsessed mindset.
The conveyor belt just keeps moving.
Right, and everyone's job is just to pull their lever faster.
The assembly line is a really apt metaphor. But operating this way inherently violates the core principles of Agile and knowledge work.
How so?
Well, what happens is that organizations turn their iterative sprints into mini waterfall cycles.
Mini water.
Sure, they break the work down into 2-week chunks, but the mindset is still focused entirely on volume.
How many features did we ship? What was our velocity?
Exactly. It values sheer output over actual user impact and business value. You are optimizing for busyness, not effectiveness.
Right. And the friction caused by creating an agile team like an assembly line is exactly what is forcing organizations to wake up now.
It has to.
They are realizing that faster output isn't actually solving their business problems, and this is the catalyst for the real shift in what organizations actually need today.
Matt's core argument across all his work is that organizations do not need isolated, siloed roles executing tasks.
They need something more cohesive.
They need systemic alignment. They need a deep level of role maturity where there's a clearer purpose and much stronger collaboration.
So getting away from the silos.
Exactly. We have to shift from role silos to true systems thinking.
Let's make that tangible for a second, because I think the text perfectly illustrates this shift from volume to value.
Go for it.
Imagine you have two teams. Team A operates like a well-oiled feature factory.
Okay, Team A.
They deliver 10 brand new features in a single quarter. High velocity, everyone is typing furiously. The burn down chart looks perfect.
They look great on paper.
Right. But post-launch, the data shows that half of those features go completely unused by the customer.
Ouch.
The fundamental pain points of the product remain completely untouched, and now you just have a bloated code base.
High output, negative value,
Mm,
because those 10 features now have to be maintained, updated, and navigated by the poor user.
exactly. Then you have Team B. Team B takes a very different approach.
Okay.
They spend significant time in discovery, they push back on stakeholder requests, and they only deliver 3 features in that same quarter.
Their velocity looks terrible on a traditional spreadsheet.
Terrible. But those 3 specific, targeted improvements reduce customer churn by 40%.
That's massive.
It is. Organizations are finally realizing they don't need Team A. They desperately need Team B.
They do.
But here's the problem. Executives are historically seduced by Team A.
They're totally seduced by Team A because 10 features feel like a tangible return on investment.
It feels like you're getting your money's worth.
It feels like certainty. The executive signed a check and they got 10 shiny new buttons on the app.
Right.
Team B requires a leap of faith. It requires leaders to trust that slower output will actually lead to higher impact.
So what does this all mean for the roles we were discussing?
Well,
If I am a listener and my company complains that our Scrum Masters are useless overhead or our architects are bottlenecks, how should I interpret that?
you should interpret it as an organizational design problem, not a personnel problem.
Oh, that's a huge distinction.
It is. When a company complains about these roles, it is rarely the fault of the individual sitting in that seat.
It's the system around them.
Exactly. These dysfunctions are almost always caused by shallow, agile adoption.
Where a company adopts the ceremonies but not the mindset.
Right. They are caused by weak product thinking and a culture that is still obsessed with measuring success by output rather than outcomes.
Yeah.
If your company rewards people for shipping 10 features, you will get 10 mediocre features, regardless of how good your Scrum Master is.
So true. So if the organization's needs have fundamentally shifted from basic assembly line execution to complex systems thinking, the roles at the center of the team have to evolve first.
Yeah, have to. They cannot survive as mere cogs.
We have to start with the Scrum Master then. Let's look at how this role is shedding that administrative skin.
It's a big change.
How do you go from being the meeting booker to a system optimizer?
The evolution of the Scrum Master is profound. It starts with moving far beyond the mechanical mechanics of the framework.
Give me an example.
Take the daily Scrum, for instance. In the old model, the Scrum Master asks the 3 classic questions.
What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And are there blockers?
Exactly. And it is treated as a status report to management.
Right, which everyone hates because it just feels like a micromanagement roll call.
Nobody likes it. But the text points out that in an evolved model, the daily Scrum is a collaborative daily planning session owned by the developers.
Owned by the developers.
Yes. The Scrum Master's role isn't to take role. It's to observe the system.
What are they observing exactly?
They are listening for unspoken dependencies. They are watching the flow of work and asking why things are getting stuck, not just what is stuck.
Getting to the root cause.
Exactly. They are evolving into true organizational change agents.
Let's dig into that because organizational change agent can sound like a bit of a buzzword.
It can, yeah.
What does that actually look like in practice?
It looks like managing team contracts and fostering psychological safety.
Psychological safety is huge right now.
It is. It means stepping in when a developer is afraid to admit they don't understand the legacy code.
Which is secretly causing a massive delay.
Right. The evolved Scrum Master creates an environment where that vulnerability is acceptable, allowing the team to swarm the problem instead of hiding it.
They make it safe to say, I don't know.
Exactly. They are the critical bridge between the product vision and the technical execution.
And this requires incredible adaptability, especially with hybrid work.
Well, hybrid work changes everything.
The text gives a great, tangible example of a Scrum Master navigating a distributed team across 3 different time zones.
I love that example.
In the old model, you just hop on a conference call, people multitask, and nothing really gets resolved.
Someone's dog is barking in the background.
Exactly. But this evolved Scrum Master introduced a virtual Miro whiteboard pre-populated with systemic data to run asynchronous and synchronous retrospectives.
Yes, and the impact of that goes far beyond just using a new tool.
How so?
By enabling real-time visual collaboration, the Scrum Master dramatically increased participation from introverted team members.
That's a great point. Not everyone wants to speak up on a massive Zoom call.
Right. And it generated actionable insights that actually improved their workflow across geographic barriers.
So it wasn't just talk.
No, it was advanced facilitation.
Right.
That is adding systemic value, not just checking a box on a calendar.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting and where a lot of the current anxiety comes from. We have to talk about AI.
Oh boy, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, AI is entering the chat, and it is now capable of automating backlog refinement, tracking velocity metrics, analyzing sprint trends.
Even generating meeting notes and action items.
Exactly. So I can
I
hear the skeptical executive again.
What are you saying now?
They're saying, if AI can track the burn-down chart and summarize the retrospective, what do we need a Scrum Master for? Why am I paying a human salary for this?
It's a completely valid fear if you still view the role as purely administrative.
Right.
If your only job is updating Jira, yes, AI will absolutely replace you.
More truth.
But the reality is that AI frees up the Scrum Master to do their actual job. It elevates the role.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Matt gives a brilliant example of a Scrum Master who used an AI-powered tool to analyze sprint velocity trends.
What did the AI find?
The AI dug through months of data and identified a hidden pattern. User stories involving a specific legacy database always took 3 times longer than estimated.
Wow, causing cascading delays everywhere.
Exactly. So the AI found the anomaly in the data.
But the AI can't fix the legacy database.
No, and it definitely can't fix the team's avoidance of it.
Right.
Precisely. The AI did the math, but the Scrum Master facilitated the human change.
How to do that?
The Scrum Master took that data, brought it to the team, and uncovered that the developers were avoiding the database because the original architect had left and they were terrified of breaking it.
Oh, wow. So it was a fear issue, not just a tech issue.
Exactly. The Scrum Master then worked with engineering leadership to create a dedicated innovation spike to map and refactor that database.
That's amazing.
By letting the AI handle the data crunching, the team was able to address a deeply rooted psychological and technical issue, ultimately reducing their cycle time by 15%.
That is a perfect example. When AI absorbs the mechanical tracking, the Scrum Master can focus entirely on advanced human facilitation.
Resolving complex team conflicts, coaching the organization.
Dealing with the psychological aspects of team dynamics that an algorithm simply cannot navigate.
AI gives them the X-ray, the Scrum Master performs the surgery.
Oh, I love that. AI gives the X-ray, the human does the surgery.
Exactly.
And with the Scrum Master handling the system flow and the health of the team, the direction of that flow, where the team is actually going, must be guided by someone who truly understands value.
Which leads us perfectly into the evolution of product roles.
The shift here is just as dramatic and perhaps even more difficult because of corporate politics.
Oh, the politics are intense in this space.
We are moving from the product owner as a backlog administrator to a true visionary. They are shifting from taking orders from the loudest stakeholder in the room and simply writing tickets to actively shaping the business strategy and defining the why behind the product.
It's a huge mindset shift.
It's the difference between being a waiter taking orders at a restaurant versus being the head chef designing the menu.
That is a great analogy. The waiter doesn't ask the customer if a steak pairs well with a moshek.
They just write it down.
They just write it down. A backlog administrator just writes down whatever the VP of sales demands.
Right.
But an evolved product owner uses data to push back.
They actually push back.
They use opportunity solution trees and cost of delay metrics to prove that building feature X right now will actually hurt the company's long-term strategy.
But let's be real for a second. Pushing back on a VP of sales sounds like a great way to get fired.
It really does.
How does a product owner actually survive this transition? How do they say no without causing an organizational meltdown?
This is where the critical partnership between the product owner and the Scrum Master comes in. They cannot operate in silos. Think of a scenario where a product owner is under immense pressure from a major client to deliver a custom feature faster.
And the client is threatening to churn if they don't get it.
Exactly. The traditional reaction is for the product owner to panic, bypass the backlog, and start assigning work directly to developers.
Completely destroying the sprint focus.
And tanking team morale in the process.
Which turns them right back into Team A, the feature factory.
Exactly. But in an evolved system, the Scrum Master steps in.
To do what? Scold the product owner?
No, not to scold them, but to partner with them. The Scrum Master protects the boundary of the team, making the cost of context switching visible to the organization.
Ah, showing them the real cost.
Meanwhile, the product owner uses data-driven insights, often aided by AI, to analyze the client's actual usage data.
What if the client is wrong about what they need?
That's usually what happens. They might discover the client isn't actually using the existing features properly, and what they need is better onboarding, not a new custom button.
So they solve the actual problem.
The product owner manages the stakeholder relationship with facts, while the Scrum Master ensures the system can sustainably deliver on the real need.
It's a dynamic duo. The product owner brings the market and business context, and the Scrum Master ensures the system can sustainably deliver on it.
It's a beautiful partnership when it works.
The product owner has to navigate that stakeholder alignment, proving with facts and user feedback why Team B's 3 features are more valuable than Team A's 10 features.
But a great vision and a healthy, psychologically safe team mean absolutely nothing if the technical execution is unsustainable.
That's a sobering thought.
You can have the best product strategy in the world and the best Scrum Master protecting the team. But if the code is built on a house of cards, it will inevitably collapse under its own weight.
Which brings us to the evolution of engineering leaders.
Yes,
I find this transition to be the most fascinating and, frankly, the most personally difficult for the individuals involved.
it is incredibly tough on a personal level.
You are talking about tech leads and engineering managers who usually got to their position because they were the best, fastest, smartest coders in the room.
They were the hero developers.
Right, the ones who solved the hardest problems at 2 a.m.
It is a profound identity crisis for them. Moving from traditional management to agile leadership means moving from the person who solves the problems and tracks the code commits to the enabler who creates autonomous teams.
They have to step back.
You have to let go of control. You are no longer responsible for doing the work.
Right.
You are responsible for creating the conditions where others can do their best work.
But if I'm an engineering manager whose end-of-year bonus is tied to shipping X amount of code this quarter, letting go of control sounds like career suicide.
It feels incredibly risky.
If I step back and let the team figure it out and they fail, I'm the one who gets in trouble. How does Matt suggest that they actually survive that transition?
It requires them to stop speaking purely in technical jargon and start thinking like a product leader.
Speak the language of the business.
Exactly. They have to change how they communicate risk and investment to the wider business. I love the example from the text about translating technical debt into business value.
How does that work?
In the old view, an engineering leader might go to the executive team and say, "We have to pause feature development for 3 weeks because we need to refactor the database and update our API endpoints."
And the business executives roll their eyes, deny the request, and say, that sounds like an IT problem. We have a marketing launch next month. Just make it work.
Because the engineering leader spoke to them in a language they don't value.
Right. They don't care about APIs.
But an evolving engineering leader frames it completely differently.
What do they say?
They say, our current architecture is causing a 4-second delay on the checkout page. If we invest 3 weeks in modernizing this system, we will reduce page load time by 30%, which data shows will increase our e-commerce conversion rates by 5% and significantly reduce customer churn.
Wow. Suddenly, the business is listening.
Absolutely.
They aren't hearing refactoring. They are hearing increased revenue.
They are speaking the language of value, not just technical velocity.
And that translation is essential for balancing innovation and delivery. This is where the concept of dual-track Agile comes in.
Yes, dual-track Agile is key here.
An evolved engineering leader advocates for innovation spikes and dedicated time for foundational work.
They have to carve out that space.
Their new job is to step back, model systems thinking, and advocate for long-term architectural investments to the executive team, ensuring the product doesn't just work today, but can scale tomorrow.
They protect the engine so the product owner can steer the car.
That's perfect. But to achieve that long-term architectural health, the engineering leader and the team need incredibly deep, specialized expertise.
They really do.
Which is the perfect segue to what is arguably the most misunderstood group in the entire Agile ecosystem: the specialists.
The architects, the UX designers, the business analysts, the data scientists.
Yeah, these roles often feel the most alienated by basic Agile frameworks.
They really do. It's a common struggle.
And we have to tackle this generalist myth head-on.
Oh, let's talk about the myth.
There is a pervasive, almost dogmatic idea in early Agile transformations that a truly cross-functional team must be made entirely of full-stack generalists.
It's everywhere.
The myth is that everyone on the team should be able to code, test, design the interface, and analyze the data.
Which is absurd.
And therefore, specialists are no longer needed, or they are viewed purely as bottlenecks who slow the generalists down.
It is a dangerous myth, and it leads to incredibly mediocre products.
How so?
The text is very clear that while cross-functional teams are the goal, Treating everyone as a generalist is not scalable, and it is not sustainable in a complex environment.
Because nobody can be an expert at everything.
Exactly. You do not want a back-end developer guessing at human-computer interaction principles.
Definitely not.
What organizations actually need is a shift in how specialists operate. They need to move from being gatekeepers to embedded enablers.
Instead of sitting in an ivory tower, they become embedded allies.
Yes.
I want to use an analogy here. It's the difference between a general sitting in a tent miles from the front line, reading reports and sending down orders,
Right.
versus an embedded journalist or medic who is right there in the trenches with the squad, experiencing the friction firsthand.
That's a really vivid way to look at it.
What does that actually look like on the ground for these different roles? Let's take architects.
Well, in the old model, an architect spends months designing a rigid, monolithic blueprint.
And then what?
They hand it to the developers and say, build exactly this.
Which never works out.
Never. When the developers inevitably find out the blueprint doesn't work with the real-world technology constraints, they have to submit a change request.
And everything grinds to a halt.
Exactly. But in the evolved model, architects co-create guardrails.
Co-create. I like that.
They work alongside developers in the trenches, building a walking skeleton of the architecture.
So they build a prototype together.
They design modular systems that can adapt as the product evolves, making decisions at the last responsible moment rather than entirely upfront.
Okay, what about UX designers? Because fitting deep user research into a strict 2-week sprint is notoriously difficult.
It's one of the biggest friction points in Agile.
A lot of developers complain that UX is always either too slow or they're just drawing pretty pictures without understanding the code.
The evolved UX designer moves from delivering pixel-perfect, upfront wireframes months before coding begins to engaging in continuous discovery.
Continuous discovery.
This is a crucial mechanism. They operate on a dual-track system. They're often working one sprint ahead on discovery.
We're running usability tests and guerrilla research.
Exactly, but they're doing it with the developer.
Oh, so the developers are involved in the research.
Yes. They bring an engineer into the user interview so the engineer sees the customer struggle with the interface firsthand.
That builds so much empathy.
It does. They feed those insights directly back into the current sprint in real time, sketching solutions together rather than throwing Photoshop files over a wall.
And the business or data analysts, I imagine they aren't just writing 50-page requirements documents anymore.
Not at all. They move from writing exhaustive specs to collaboratively discovering needs.
Framing the problems.
Exactly. They have the team frame the right problems to solve based on metrics.
So instead of dictating a solution...
Right. Instead of saying, build a dashboard with these 5 charts, they say, the data shows users are abandoning the process at step 3. Let's figure out why.
That's much more powerful.
They apply lean principles optimizing flow, reducing waste, to prevent the team from accumulating technical or usability debt.
Looking at all these roles together, the Scrum Master is facilitating flow, the product owner is driving strategic vision, the engineering leader is enabling technical excellence, and the specialists embedding deep expertise.
You see a pattern emerge.
We really can start to see a unified pattern.
Yes, there is a shared DNA across all these modern evolved roles. Mass core themes synthesized beautifully here.
How would you summarize that shared DNA?
If you strip away the titles, every single evolved role is focused on enabling others.
Enabling others.
Supporting better decisions, improving the flow of work, focusing relentlessly on outcomes over outputs.
Fostering trust.
Fostering trust, and helping the entire organizational system adapt to change.
It's a complete posture shift.
A massive one.
Every single role has moved from a vertical command and control posture where your job is to dictate, approve, and track from above.
To a horizontal collaborative posture.
Exactly. A horizontal posture where your job is to coach, discover, and facilitate alongside the team.
Yeah.
You're no longer managing the people. You're managing the environment they operate in.
What's fascinating here is that this shared evolution is the very definition of true organizational agility.
It really is.
It's not about having the perfect Jira workflow or doing stand-up, standing up. It is about creating a resilient nervous system for the organization, an environment where value flows continuously because the people are aligned.
Because they understand their shared purpose.
And because they possess the psychological safety to act on it, not just because a framework dictates a rigid set of ceremonies.
But if the blueprint for evolving these roles is so clear, and the shared DNA of horizontal collaboration makes so much sense, we have to address the elephant in the room.
Let's do it.
Why are so many organizations still getting it so spectacularly wrong?
It's painful to watch sometimes
Why is it still so painful out there for the practitioners listening to this right now?
because of systemic misalignment and organizational gravity.
Organizational gravity, what does that mean?
You cannot drop an evolved, horizontal, outcome-focused, agile team into a rigid, vertical, output-focused corporate structure and expect magic.
It just doesn't fit.
The immune system of the old corporation will attack the agile team.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it.
The text unpacks how companies actively, albeit unintentionally, sabotage these evolving roles.
Give me some specific examples of that sabotage. What does it look like when the corporate immune system attacks?
The most classic example is the budgeting process.
Oh, the dreaded annual budget.
Right. You have an organization trying to run agile development teams, asking them to pivot based on continuous customer feedback and market discovery.
Being agile.
But the finance department still maintains a rigid annual waterfall budgeting process.
The two just clash.
In November, they demand a Gantt chart promising exactly what features will be delivered in August of the next year in order to release funds.
So you have a product owner who is supposed to be running experiments and adapting, but they are legally bound to a contract they signed 9 months ago before they had any data.
Exactly. It completely neuters the product owner's ability to be visionary.
What's another example?
Another one is maintaining strictly siloed departments where IT and business don't speak, making the Scrum Master's job of organizational change almost impossible.
They're just blocked at every turn.
Or most destructively, the executive board rewarding leaders based on the sheer volume of features delivered rather than the business impact of those features.
Ah, the feature factory trap again.
It's so common.
I want to dive into the psychology of this because it is so easy for an organization to panic when quarterly numbers are down.
Panic is the enemy of agility.
Let's say revenue misses projections by 5%. The executives freak out. The pressure rolls downhill rapidly.
And suddenly that beautiful, evolved system we just talked about collapses.
The product owner is forced to bypass the backlog.
The Scrum Master's facilitation is ignored as fluff.
And the developers are whipped back into being an assembly line just to show progress to the board.
And when that panic sets in, the system breaks down entirely. Technical debt skyrockets, quality drops, and burnout goes through the roof.
It's a vicious cycle.
But what happens next is the real tragedy, the blame game.
Who gets blamed?
Executives look at the chaos, the poor quality, and the exhausted teams, and they blame the Agile framework itself.
They say, Agile doesn't work here.
Or they point at the specific roles, saying, our Scrum Master isn't effective at delivering.
Wow.
They almost never look in the mirror and address their own outdated operational models, financial models, and output-obsessed culture that forced the panic in the first place.
They blame the symptom, not the disease.
Exactly.
They fire the Scrum Master for not making the assembly line run faster without realizing the assembly line is building the wrong product.
It's incredibly frustrating for practitioners.
So overcoming these massive organizational hurdles requires looking forward.
We have to look ahead.
Where is this entire ecosystem of roles heading next? If I am a listener navigating this messy reality, what does the future look like?
Well, artificial intelligence is going to be the ultimate force multiplier.
AI again.
And it is going to force this evolution faster than anything else.
Because it automates the busy work.
The text makes it very clear that AI is not going to replace these roles. It is going to shift them to higher order thinking. Because AI is going to commoditize the execution.
Writing boilerplate code, running automated tests, generating reports.
AI will do that instantly.
So what do the humans do?
The humans focus on strategy, ethics, and systems design.
Systems design.
Specialists, for example, will spend less time doing manual data analysis and more time guiding AI-driven automation.
Like predictive workforce planning or automated security testing?
Exactly. AI will generate thousands of insights and recommendations, but the Agile leaders, the evolved specialists, Scrum Masters, and engineering leaders will provide the ethical, data-backed governance.
They have to make sure the AI isn't hallucinating.
They will have to ensure the AI's recommendations actually align with the nuanced business strategy and complex human needs.
And what about the organizational structure itself? We talked about scale earlier.
As we navigate the realities of massive hybrid and remote work environments, scaling frameworks like SAFe, LESS, or Nexus are becoming ubiquitous.
They are everywhere in the enterprise space.
And these frameworks are incredibly dangerous if run by immature roles, because they can easily become just another layer of heavy bureaucracy.
Scaling Agile often just means scaling meetings.
Exactly. But these evolved roles are the antidote to that. They act as network nodes rather than gatekeepers.
Network nodes.
They're the ones who will have to coordinate seamlessly across massive matrixed organizations using their horizontal posture to cut through the red tape.
That is the tightrope walk of the future, scaling the benefits of Agile without scaling the bureaucracy.
It's a delicate balance.
It seems to me that the future belongs entirely to those who can interpret AI insights and facilitate complex human collaboration around them.
Absolutely.
If you are a Scrum Master who only knows how to book meetings, yes, your role is dying.
Unquestionably.
But if you are a system optimizer who can use AI data to heal a fractured team culture, your role isn't dying. It's becoming the most important job in the company.
I agree completely. The future of work is undeniably human, supported by incredibly powerful machines.
Supported by machines, driven by humans.
But the machines cannot build trust, they cannot resolve a stakeholder conflict, and they cannot define a compelling product vision.
As we bring this deep dive full circle, I want to bring it right back to you listening right now.
Yeah, back to the listener.
We started by dismantling a myth, and hopefully we've shown you that Agile roles are not disappearing. They are maturing.
Evolving, maturing, adapting.
The Scrum Masters, product owners, engineering leaders, and specialists are shedding their administrative gatekeeping skins to become the vital connective tissue of value creation in modern organizations.
Connective tissue, exactly.
The focus is shifting from removing roles for efficiency to aligning roles for value.
And I want to leave you with a final provocative thought.
Please do.
As AI and automation continue to advance at breakneck speed, they will eventually absorb almost all the mechanical processes of Agile.
The tracking of velocity, the generation of code, the automated testing, the drafting of user stories.
Right. When the machines are handling all the mechanics of the framework, does Agile leadership ultimately become a pure exercise in human psychology, empathy, and organizational systems design?
Wow.
That is the frontier we are heading toward. It is no longer about managing the work. It is about managing the environment.
Managing the environment.
That is something for you to mull over as you step back into your own teams tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive on digital product and Agile. If you found the conversation useful, follow the series so you don't miss future episodes exploring how product leadership and organizational systems evolve.